Welcome back, you guys, to the Short Gut Mom Show. So today's episode is about TPN, the potion or the poison. And if you remember in my first video, I talked to you guys about a surgery that Cameron had where she got a Broviac catheter put in and she got an IV line put into a major vein that went from her neck to her heart. And that's how she was fed nutrition. So I'm going to talk to you about TPN and its complications and Cameron's story as far as TPN. So TPN stands for Total Parenteral Nutrition. It's a feeding to a person intravenously bypassing the usual process of eating and digestion. The person receives nutritional formula that contains glucose, amino acids, lipids, vitamins, and dietary minerals. So TPN, as it pertains to someone who has a gastro disorder, TPN may be the only feasible option for providing nutrition to patients who do not have a functional gestational tract or who have disorders requiring complete bowel rest, including bowel obstruction, short bowel syndrome, which is what Cameron has, prolonged diarrhea, Crohn's disease, and necrotizing enterocolitis, which is what Cameron had, and it led to her having short bowel syndrome. So living with TPN, approximately 40,000 people who use TPN at home in the United States, it requires for them to be on it from 10 to 16 hours, and that can affect their daily life. They become depressed. You also have a lot of teenagers who just, worry about body image. So, that's the mental part of TPN, how you can deal with it mentally. So the complications of TPN are infection. TPN requires a chronic IV access for a solution to run through. The most common complication is infection in the catheter. Infection is a common cause of death in these patients with a mortality rate of approximately 15% in infection, which usually ends in septic shock. So again, fatal. Blood clots. Chronic IV access leaves a foreign body in the vascular system, and the blood clots on the IV are common. Death can also result from pulmonary embolism, wherein a clot that starts in the IV breaks down and moves and goes into the lungs. Fatty liver and liver failure. When you deal with liver failure, you got to deal with dialysis. You got to deal with trying to, possibly find a transplant. You can go into a coma. So then you have to deal with GI issues on top of, kidney failure or liver failure. Hunger is something else that they deal with. Because they're not receiving anything actually in the belly, it's like starvation because they're only receiving nutrition through a vein. So Cameron's story as far as TPN, she got an infection, and getting an infection is inevitable. You cannot escape it. You're going to get an infection because there's a foreign object in your body. She got an infection. She went into the hospital. They gave us a 2-week antibiotic. We were right back in the hospital 2 weeks later. So her doctor, saw that the infection was growing inside the catheter, so she immediately wanted to take it out. They took it out. Cameron soared, she thrived, she started growing. So I wanted to do this because I see a lot of parents on their Facebook forums talk about when their kids have infections, and it's sad because something that's supposed to help them can also hinder them. And Cameron's not out of the woods. She can always go back on TPN, but I will deal with that when it comes. You know what I mean? Like this. In this situation, you just got to deal with everything as it comes. So I wanted to talk about that because it was really important. Like I said, she was just so blessed, and I'm so glad that her doctor recognized that she didn't need to be on it anymore. So that's pretty much it about TPN. I just wanted to tell you guys about it. I know this video is a little short and it's a day late. Forgive me, I'm sorry. So I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Stay tuned. Bye.